The first rule of working for Marcus Hale was simple. Do not become visible. The assistants before her had learned that quickly. Neutral tones, quiet steps, emails precise and emotionless. No opinions unless asked. No presence unless summoned. Marcus Hale built billion-dollar tech acquisitions the way other men built Lego sets, methodical, detached, surgical. And he did not tolerate noise. When Isla Moreno stepped into Hale Global's glass lobby for the first time, she was aware of the rumors. Cold, unapproachable, emotionally unavailable, brilliant. She adjusted the strap of her leather portfolio and walked toward the reception desk without hesitation. Isla Moreno, she said, I'm here for the assistant interview. The receptionist's eyes flicked up with mild curiosity. Oh, you're the one. Isla lifted a brow. Is that good or concerning? Undecided. She smiled faintly. She liked undecided. The elevator ride to the top floor was silent and long enough to rehearse fear. She didn't. If Marcus Hale expected invisibility, he had hired the wrong woman. Marcus didn't look up when she entered his office. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed the skyline behind him. His suit jacket rested neatly on the back of his chair. His dark hair was perfectly in place, his posture straight, controlled. Sit, he said, still reading something on his tablet. She sat, not timidly, not aggressively, simply present. 30 seconds passed, then 60. He finished what he was reading before finally lifting his gaze. He studied her, not inappropriately, analytically. You've worked for 3 CEOs in 5 years, he said. Yes. You left too. Yes. Why? Because I refused to be a ghost. Silence. His expression didn't change. Explain. I don't mind assisting, she said evenly, but I won't disappear behind someone else's shadow. You're applying to be my assistant. I'm applying to be efficient, she corrected. His eyes narrowed slightly. Efficiency requires discretion. Discretion isn't invisibility. Pause. Interesting. He leaned back slightly in his chair. You're aware of how this position works. I am. Then you're aware that this is not a partnership role. She didn't flinch. I'm not asking for one. What are you asking for? Respect. The word hung in the air between them. He had interviewed 9 candidates. All polished. All compliant. None had said that. And you believe you won't receive that here? He asked calmly. I believe it depends on you. The audacity should have irritated him. Didn't. It intrigued him. You're very direct. I find it saves time. He almost smiled. Almost. You're aware I expect loyalty. I'm loyal to competence. And if we disagree, then I'll explain my reasoning. And if I dismiss it, I'll adjust. That answer satisfied him more than obedience would have. Why Hale Global? He asked. Because you build things, she replied. Everyone builds things. You build infrastructure that lasts. His gaze sharpened slightly. And that matters to you? Yes. Why? Because temporary work exhausts me. That struck closer than she realized. Temporary. He studied her more carefully now. You don't seem intimidated. Should I be? Most people are. Most people are intimidated by reputation. And you? I prefer data. A beat. And what does the data say about me? That you're not cruel. That made him still. You've researched me thoroughly. Yes. And you concluded I'm not cruel. You're demanding, controlled, reserved, and not cruel. No. The room felt smaller suddenly. No one had described him that way publicly. Why does that matter? He asked. Because I won't work for someone who is. He stood then, slowly, walked toward the window. She didn't turn in her chair to follow him. She stayed still, confident, visible. You'll start Monday, he said finally. She didn't smile broadly, didn't celebrate. She simply nodded. Understood. Your predecessor left because she felt overlooked. Isla held his gaze. I won't. That sounds certain. It is. You don't know how I operate yet. No, she agreed. But I know how I do. He watched her carefully. For the first time in months, something other than quarterly revenue forecasts occupied his thoughts. "You're aware," he said slowly, "that assistants here do not speak in board meetings. I'm aware. And if you disagree with something, I'll request a private conversation. And if I refuse, I'll find a better way to be heard." There it was again. Not defiance. Resolve. "You're either exactly what I need," he murmured, "or a complication." She smiled slightly. "I don't intend to be either." That earned it. A real, fleeting curve at the edge of his mouth. She noticed. Of course she did. "You're not as cold as they say," she said quietly. His expression reset instantly. "That observation is unnecessary." "Data," she replied calmly. Silence. Then, "You'll report to me directly." "I assumed." "Be punctual." "I am." "Be precise." "I prefer it." "And don't attempt to change how I run this company." She stood now, gathered her portfolio, met his gaze fully. "I won't try to change your company," she said. "I'll try to improve your time." The distinction lingered in the air long after she walked out of his office. Marcus Hale did not hire complications. But as the elevator doors closed around Isla Moreno, he realized something unsettling. For the first time in years, he had hired someone he would actually notice. Isla learned the rhythm of Marcus Hale in 3 days. He arrived at 6:40 a.m., coffee at 6:43, emails cleared by 7:10, first call at 7:15 sharp. He did not waste motion. He did not repeat instructions. And he did not acknowledge small talk. On her first Monday, she arrived at 6:30. He noticed. Of course he did. "You're early," he said without looking up from his tablet. "So are you. I live by schedule." "So do I." Silence. He expected her to retreat after that. She didn't. She opened her laptop, reviewed the week's calendar, and began reorganizing it without being asked. At 7:05, he finally looked at the screen she had turned slightly toward him. "You moved the board call." "Yes." "Why?" "You scheduled it before the acquisition briefing." He stared at her. "Yes. You'll have less data at 9 o'clock than at 11 o'clock. He paused. She wasn't wrong. "That's presumptive," he said evenly. "It's logical." Silence. He studied the calendar. "You assume I didn't consider that. I assume you were prioritizing habit." That should have irritated him. Instead, he felt something shift. She wasn't correcting him publicly. She wasn't challenging his authority. She was refining it. "Fine," he said. She nodded once. No victory smile. No subtle triumph. Just efficiency. By Wednesday, she had mapped his patterns. He didn't eat unless reminded. He didn't pause between meetings unless forced. He didn't respond well to emotional phrasing. So she didn't use it. "Lunch," she said at 12:47 p.m., placing a protein bowl on his desk. "I'm busy. You'll be sharper if you eat." He glanced at her. "That sounds like concern." "It's strategy." A flicker of something passed through his eyes. "Noted." He ate. The first board meeting with her present happened Thursday afternoon. She sat quietly at the far end of the table. Not invisible. Observing. Marcus presented projections. Spoke clearly, efficiently, without wasted syllables. When one of the senior partners questioned the expansion timeline, Marcus answered calmly. But Isla saw it. The flaw in the chart. Minor. Fixable. But noticeable. She waited. He continued speaking. She slid a note toward him. Slide 14, regional cost estimate, missing transport adjustment. His gaze dropped briefly. He didn't react outwardly. He adjusted mid-sentence without acknowledging her. "Including revised transport overhead in Q3. The partner nodded, satisfied. Meeting continued. Afterward, when the room emptied, Marcus closed the door. "You were correct," he said. "I know." That earned the faintest lift of his brow. "You're confident." "I prepare." He studied her carefully. "You don't need recognition? I need accuracy." He leaned against the edge of his desk. You could have embarrassed me. I work for you. That's not an answer. I improve outcomes, not headlines. Silence settled. He had not expected loyalty. Not so quickly. Most assistants aim to be agreeable, he said. I aim to be useful. And visibility? She held his gaze. Earned. He felt it then. The tension. Not romantic. Not yet. Intellectual. Present. Dangerous. The complication arrived 2 weeks later. A high-profile investor dinner. Private. Exclusive. Marcus typically attended alone. Assistants did not accompany him. But the investor had requested a full strategic outline during dinner. Marcus glanced at Isla's calendar. You'll attend, he said. She blinked once. Understood. The restaurant was discreet and expensive in the quiet way power prefers. She wore a tailored black dress. Professional. Understated. Visible. The investor, Harold Cunningham, was older. Sharp. Curious. And this is? He asked, glancing at Isla. My assistant, Marcus replied. She extended her hand calmly. Isla Moreno. Harold studied her. You brought her. Yes. She speaks. When necessary. Harold chuckled. Good. I prefer competence. Dinner progressed smoothly. Marcus led the financial overview. Isla listened, watched, calculated. When Harold asked about the sustainability projection, Marcus began answering. But Isla noticed the investor's hesitation. Different concern. She spoke. Your hesitation isn't about cost, she said evenly. It's about long-term scalability in regional markets. Marcus's head turned slightly. Harold's eyes sharpened. Yes, he said slowly. Exactly. She continued. The Q4 expansion allows for modular growth. If you delay infrastructure scaling until Q2, you reduce exposure without sacrificing competitive advantage. Silence. Marcus watched her. Not angry, not surprised, impressed. Harold leaned back slowly. Well, he said, that's the clearest explanation I've heard all week. He turned to Marcus. You've hired well. Marcus didn't look away from Isla when he answered. Yes. On the ride back, the car was quiet. You spoke without being prompted, he said finally. Yes. Why? Because it improved the outcome. You assumed I wouldn't cover it. I assumed he needed clarity. Silence. You were correct, he said. She nodded. Will that be an issue? She asked calmly. He studied her profile in the dim car lighting. No. She glanced at him briefly. You don't want invisible. He exhaled slowly. No. The word lingered heavier than expected. The shift happened gradually after that. He began asking for her input before meetings. She began challenging timelines openly, in private. He adjusted. She respected boundaries. But tension simmered beneath the surface. Not power struggle. Something else. One evening, as they remained in the office past 8 p.m., she looked up from her laptop. You don't let people get close, she said quietly. He didn't look up. That's not relevant. It affects how you delegate. Now he looked at her. That's an observation outside your job description. I prefer full data. His jaw tightened slightly. You're crossing into personal territory. Maybe that's why your fiancé left. Silence slammed into the room. She realized it immediately. Too far. His expression went still. Controlled. Cold. That topic, he said evenly, is not open for analysis. Her chest tightened. Understood. The air shifted. And for the first time since she started, she wondered if visibility had a cost. The silence the next morning was deliberate. Marcus arrived at 6:40. Coffee at 6:43. Emails by 7:10. Nothing had changed, except the air between them. Isla did not apologize immediately. Not because she didn't regret it, because she needed to understand why she'd said it. She hadn't meant to wound him. She had meant to point at a pattern. But personal patterns were not corporate inefficiencies. They were guarded territory. At 8:12, he finally spoke. You will not reference my past relationship again. His tone was calm. measured, not sharp. Yes, she replied evenly. And you will not speculate about its causes. Yes. Silence resumed. She could have let it settle there, kept the boundaries intact, stayed efficient, invisible in the right places. But that wasn't how she operated. May I clarify something? She asked. He didn't look up. If it pertains to business, it pertains to trust. That made him pause. He set the tablet down slowly. Proceed. I didn't mean to reduce you to a headline, she said. I meant to point out that guarded leadership can affect delegation. His gaze sharpened slightly. You believe I am guarded? Yes. And that is detrimental? Sometimes. Silence. You assume my former engagement ended because I was distant, he said evenly. I assume it ended because alignment was missing. A beat. And you believe you can assess alignment. I assess patterns. He leaned back slightly. And what pattern do you see? That you operate best when control is centralized. That is not unusual. No, but it can isolate you. He studied her carefully. You are aware you are still my employee. Yes. And yet you continue this line of conversation. Yes. Why? Because invisibility creates inefficiency. That earned a faint flicker in his expression. You equate emotional distance with operational inefficiency. I equate isolation with limited perspective. Silence stretched. He wasn't angry. He was evaluating. You think I am isolated? Yes. And you think that contributed to my engagement ending? I think it may have. He stood then, slowly, walked toward the window. She didn't follow. She remained at her desk, present. I built Hale Global from scratch, he said quietly. I learned early that emotional transparency complicates decisions. I'm not suggesting transparency in board meetings. He turned slightly. Then what are you suggesting? That you trust more than your projections. Silence. He faced her fully now. You assume I do not trust. I assume you verify everything. And that is flawed? It can be exhausting. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then, she told me I felt unreachable, he said. The words were controlled, but softer. She said I never let her see doubt. Isla listened carefully. Was she wrong? He didn't answer immediately. I believed strength required certainty, he said. And now, I am less certain. That surprised her. About what? About whether certainty prevents connection. The honesty shifted something between them. This was no longer employer and assistant. This was two people discussing fracture lines. You don't have to choose between competence and closeness, she said gently. He studied her carefully. You speak as though you have. I have. She hesitated briefly. My father ran his business the same way. Controlled, efficient, untouchable. And he lost employees, not clients. That landed. You think I will lose more than a fiancé. I think you might lose loyalty you didn't realize you valued. Silence settled again. But this time, it wasn't sharp. It was reflective. You crossed a line yesterday, he said finally. Yes, but you were not entirely incorrect. Her breath slowed slightly. I don't speak without intention, she replied. I've noticed. Faint pause. However, he continued, your visibility must remain calibrated. She almost smiled. Calibrated. Yes. Defined how? You will not analyze my personal life in the middle of an operational review. That was late evening. In this office, it is still operational. She nodded once. Understood. He studied her for a final moment. You are not invisible, he said quietly. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. But it landed. You never were. The words hung in the air long after he returned to his desk. That afternoon, something subtle shifted. He asked her opinion on a negotiation approach before finalizing it. She gave it. He adjusted accordingly. Later, when she corrected a minor timeline publicly during a strategy session, he didn't stiffen. He nodded. The board noticed. That night, as they remained late again, the tension felt different. Not fragile, layered. "Do you regret hiring me?" she asked quietly. He didn't look up immediately. "No, even with the complications? Especially because of them." She paused. "That's not very CEO of you. It's very honest of me." A small smile touched her mouth. "And you?" he asked. "Do you regret refusing invisibility?" "No, even if it costs you comfort?" "Yes." He almost smiled. "You are a complication." She nodded slightly. "I know." Silence lingered. Then, "You're staying late," he observed. "So are you." "Why?" "Because I want this acquisition finalized properly." He held her gaze. "And nothing else?" Her breath caught slightly. "Work first." He studied her for a long second. "Work first," he agreed. But neither of them fully believed it anymore. The shift became visible before either of them acknowledged it. Not to investors, not to the board, but to the staff. Marcus Hale had always walked through the office with purpose, eyes forward, pace precise. Assistants trailed half a step behind him like shadows. Now Isla walked beside him, not touching, not whispering, but aligned. People noticed. They noticed how he paused when she spoke. How he asked, "What do you think?" instead of deciding unilaterally. How he adjusted timelines mid-discussion because she had raised an eyebrow. It wasn't dramatic. It was subtle, but it was real. And it was dangerous, because visibility invites scrutiny. The complication arrived in the form of a rumor. It began with a junior analyst who saw them leaving the building together one evening. It evolved into whispers about favoritism. It grew into a question posed indirectly during a board pre-meeting. Is the assistant influencing executive decisions beyond her scope? Marcus heard it calmly. He didn't look at Isla. He didn't react outwardly. He answered evenly. "My decisions are mine." The conversation moved on, but the air shifted. Afterward, in his office, the silence felt heavier than usual. "You heard it," he said finally. "Yes. And nothing." He studied her. "You don't feel undermined?" "I feel evaluated." "That bothers you." "It doesn't surprise me." Silence. He stepped closer to his desk. "If this becomes a liability to you, it won't." "You don't know that." "I do." "How?" "Because I don't attach my value to your title." The steadiness in her voice unsettled him more than insecurity would have. "You could leave," he said quietly. She blinked. "That's not subtle. It's practical. You're offering me an exit? I'm offering you insulation." She held his gaze. "From you. From speculation." She inhaled slowly. "Marcus." "Yes. If I leave because of whispers, then I was never meant to be visible." Silence. "You're choosing complication," he said. "I'm choosing presence." He looked at her carefully. "And if presence costs you, it costs you too." That landed. He hadn't considered that she might interpret his offer as dismissal. "You think I'm trying to remove you," he said slowly. "You're trying to protect yourself." The accuracy hit harder than accusation would have. "I'm trying to protect you." "From what?" "From becoming collateral." Her expression softened slightly. "You don't get to decide that alone." A long pause. He moved toward the window, hands resting loosely in his pockets. "You know why I verify everything," he said quietly. "Yes. Because the one time I assumed alignment, I miscalculated." She stepped closer. "Your engagement wasn't a miscalculation." "It was." "No." He turned sharply. "It was." "No," she repeated, steadier now. "It was two people not suited." Silence cracked between them. "You didn't fail," she continued. "You chose someone incompatible. That is failure. That is experience." The difference mattered. He stared at her. "You're not afraid of conflict." "I'm afraid of erasure." That stopped him. "You think I would erase you?" "No. You implied it." "I implied you might retreat." He exhaled slowly. "That is not the same." "It feels similar." The honesty between them was no longer filtered through professionalism. It was personal now. "You're not a liability," he said finally. "Then stop speaking like I am." Silence stretched. He stepped toward her, closer than professional distance allowed. "You're not invisible," he repeated quietly. "I know, but I also won't allow you to become a headline. I don't belong to headlines." His jaw tightened slightly. "You don't belong to speculation either. Then don't react to it." He held her gaze. "You make that sound simple." "It is. And if they believe your influence is inappropriate?" She tilted her head slightly. "Then we demonstrate competence. And if they believe it's personal?" The question lingered heavier than either of them expected. She didn't look away. "Is it?" The air changed. Not subtly, not professionally, deeply. He didn't answer immediately, because this was the line, the one neither had crossed. "I hired you for efficiency," he said carefully. And I continue to value that. That's not what I asked." Silence. "Personal complicates leadership," he said. "Only if you hide it." The statement landed like a challenge. "You would risk your career," he said quietly. "For transparency?" "I would risk comfort for authenticity." He stepped closer again, now barely a foot between them. "You are aware this changes everything." "Yes. And you still don't step back." "No." Silence. His hand lifted slightly, as if to touch her face, then stopped. Control, precision, measured restraint. "You're asking me to dismantle containment," he said quietly. "I'm asking you to trust alignment." The same word again. Alignment. He searched her face for doubt. Found none. "You're certain?" he murmured. "Yes. And if this collapses?" "It won't." "You don't know that." "I know I won't run." That was it. The difference between her and his past. She didn't retreat when things became complicated. She stepped forward. Slowly. Deliberately. "Marcus," she said softly. "Visibility isn't the threat." "What is?" "Fear." The words settled between them, and for the first time, he let himself acknowledge it. He wasn't afraid of scandal. He wasn't afraid of gossip. He was afraid of misjudging connection again, of investing fully, of trusting, and losing. He looked at her like a man standing at the edge of something irreversible. "You won't disappear," he said quietly. "No. Even if it costs you?" "Yes." Silence stretched. And then, he closed the distance. Not impulsively, not recklessly, but intentionally. His hand finally reached her jaw. Warm, steady. "You are not my assistant right now," he said softly. "And you are not my employer." The kiss wasn't rushed. It wasn't desperate. It was deliberate, equal. And when they parted, the world outside the glass walls of Hale Global hadn't changed. But the dynamic inside had. Forever. They did not announce it the next day. They did not change office protocol. They did not turn private alignment into spectacle. But subtlety has a way of revealing itself. The board meeting that followed 2 weeks later was the first real test. The acquisition was closing. Final votes pending. Investors cautious. Analysts watchful. Isla sat at the far end of the table as she always had. Visible. Measured. Marcus led the discussion. Confident. Controlled. But different. When one of the senior board members raised the concern again. Is executive objectivity being compromised? The implication hung heavy. Marcus didn't deflect. He didn't shut it down abruptly. He didn't glance at Isla for rescue. He answered calmly. "My objectivity is intact." Pause. "My assistant's competence is not conditional." Silence settled across the room. "And if there are concerns about influence," he continued evenly, "then we review data, not rumor." His gaze didn't waver. "We build infrastructure here, not speculation." The message was clear. Not defensive, not reactive, grounded. The vote passed. Unanimous. Afterward, as the board members filtered out, Isla remained seated. "You didn't need to say that," she said quietly. "Yes." he replied. I did. She stood. You could have stayed neutral. I am neutral. She studied him carefully. That wasn't neutral. It was accurate. Silence. You chose visibility, she said softly. Yes. Publicly. Yes. She exhaled slowly. That costs you too. I know. There it was. Not dominance. Not hierarchy. Choice. Later that evening, they stood in his office overlooking the skyline. You don't regret it? She asked. No. Even if it complicates perception? I am less concerned with perception. She smiled faintly. That's growth. It's alignment. The word returned. Full circle. The real shift came months later. Not in a boardroom. Not in a press cycle. But in a quiet auditorium filled with folding chairs and middle school parents. Marcus Hale sat in the third row, hands folded loosely, suit jacket removed, watching 12-year-olds perform scenes from Romeo and Juliet. Isla stood backstage, nervous in a way she never was in corporate environments. When the applause filled the room, she stepped forward to thank the parents for their support. Her eyes found him instantly. He wasn't checking his phone. He wasn't distracted. He was watching her like she was the only thing in the room. Afterward, as parents approached her, one recognized him. Isn't that? Yes, Isla said calmly. He is. And he's here. Yes, that was it. No defensiveness. No explanation. Just truth. Outside, beneath the streetlights, Marcus took her hand. You were brilliant, he said. They're 12, she replied. You were brilliant. She smiled softly. You didn't have to come. I wanted to. The difference mattered. They walked slowly toward his car. Marcus, she said quietly. Yes. When you hired me, you said assistants don't speak in board meetings. Yes. You were wrong. He smiled faintly. Yes. And when I said I wouldn't be invisible, you weren't. They stopped near the entrance. Silence lingered. Comfortable now. Not tense. Not uncertain. Do you regret any of it? He asked. Only the time I almost apologized for being seen. He studied her carefully. You don't have to apologize for that. I know. The city hummed softly around them. He reached into his coat pocket. She noticed immediately. Marcus. Yes. Don't make this a board presentation. A faint laugh escaped him. Noted. He stepped slightly away from the sidewalk. Not kneeling immediately, just looking at her. You refused to disappear, he said quietly. You challenged me. You recalibrated how I lead. She swallowed. You made me visible in ways I didn't expect. And I don't want to lead without you. That landed deeper than any headline ever could. He lowered to one knee, right there beneath the streetlight. No crowd, no cameras, just intention. You were hired as my assistant, he said softly. But you never worked behind me. Her eyes filled instantly. You stood beside me. He opened the ring box. Simple, elegant, uncomplicated. Marry me, he said. Not because you work for me. Not because we're aligned in business. His voice softened. Marry me because we're aligned in choice. Tears spilled down her cheeks. Yes. He slid the ring onto her finger. She pulled him up and kissed him, not cautiously, not strategically, fully. And for the first time since Hale Global was founded, Marcus Hale did not measure the moment. He simply felt it. They married in spring. Small ceremony, closed circle, no press invitations. The board received a formal email the following Monday. Professional, direct, clear. Isla continued working, not as invisible, not as subordinate, but as partner in strategy, and eventually, as partner in life. 3 years later, Hale Global's leadership model was studied in business schools for its collaborative framework. Marcus would always credit his executive team publicly, but privately, he credited the woman who refused to disappear. One evening, as they stood in their kitchen reviewing blueprints for a new community project, she looked at him and said, "You almost made me invisible." He smiled faintly. "You almost let me." She laughed. And now, he replied calmly. I don't build alone. She stepped into him. You never did, she whispered. And this time, there was no hierarchy, no shadow, no erasure. Only two people who chose to stand where they could both be seen.